sure we got you as much information as possible. We're going to start with economic development, another good week on announcing new projects and even a pretty big groundbreaking. Then we're going to go to an update on flood recovery in Eastern Kentucky, move to some more awards from the Western Kentucky Safe Fund, helping to rebuild that area, and then a couple of other announcements. But I want to start today with the hope that as we push through these challenges of the present, that there is a brighter future ahead of us. And we see it in job announcements coming every single week, jobs of the future, larger projects than we've ever seen, and then projects spread out all across Kentucky. So it starts today with one of the biggest investments in our state's entire history, marking a major milestone for Bowling Green and solidifying us as the electric vehicle battery production capital of the United States of America. So yesterday, I joined local officials and leaders from Envision AESC, a world-leading Japanese electric vehicle battery technology company, to break ground on the company's new gigafactory at the Kentucky Trans Park in Warren County. This is a huge facility they're building, 3 million square feet, that'll produce the next battery cells and modules, powering the next generation of electric vehicles produced by multiple global automotive manufacturers. They serve multiple different car and truck brands. They were originally part of Nissan, making the Nissan Leaf, making them the longest battery producer in the United States. This is the second largest project ever announced in the Commonwealth. It's creating an amazing 2,000 great jobs for our residents. It is a $2 billion investment, and that's where it starts. As the company grows, as they get new customers, the plan for them is to add on to what is already a $2 billion facility. The project is an integral part of a more than $8.5 billion now being invested in EV-related projects across the state. Think about that. That's about the last two and a half years. $8.5 billion going into EV projects in Kentucky alone. And we've announced over 8,000 full-time jobs in the area. By 2027, company leaders for Envision anticipate powering up to 300,000 electric vehicles every single year. Envision is a company with a tremendous track record and even bigger ambitions for the future. This is an extremely important global company, and we are proud they chose Kentucky to locate. As you know, since announcing Ford and SK, and since announcing Envision, we've now had 4 direct suppliers make announcements that they are coming. That's just really in the last 3 weeks. And then so many other companies that are also making investments to be in the EV area. That was Toyota's $500 million. Last year, it was Firestone adding 250 workers for the EV market in Whitley County. That was last year as well. This is transformational. What's going on in the EV market right now is going to be benefiting our economy for decades to come. This and Ford are our generation's Toyota moments. And with Toyota continuing to reinvest, those are 3 powerhouses in the EV market that pretty special, pretty exciting. Next, I want to highlight an exciting project in Georgetown as Blue Run Spirits is expanding its operations with a new distillery. This nearly $51 million investment announced earlier this week is projected to create 45 quality jobs for local residents. It's going to be a 35,000 square foot distillery and a 20,000 square foot rickhouse. The new facility will also serve as the company's first vertically integrated distilling operation. It's going to be their future headquarters. I'm especially excited about this announcement as it is the first distillery to open in Scott County in 50 years. We continue to see unprecedented economic growth and momentum across several key Kentucky industries, and that rings true for the bourbon and the spirits industry. Now, since the start of my administration, we've announced more than 50 spirits-related projects for an amazing $1.1 billion in planned investments. The industry had never had that over a 10-year period prior to this administration, prior to the last 2.5 years. It's going to create over 900 new full-time jobs. The commitment we continue to see from the industry, and their belief in us is pretty amazing. So I want to thank Blue Run Spirits for locating this project in Kentucky, and we look forward to their future success. We also have Delavan Ag Pumps. Delavan Ag Pumps, which is bringing 30 full-time jobs with the new facility to the Elkton community in Todd County. Todd County has had a good couple years. It is 2 Novellus facilities, which each one is the largest investment in the history of Todd County, and now Delavan. This $2.3 million project adds to our rapidly growing agri-tech industry and furthers our claim of being the agri-tech capital of the United States of America. Currently, agribusinesses related companies in Kentucky employ more than 20,000 people throughout our state. Since the start of our administration, $935 million in new investments, 2,000 new jobs for our residents. So this new Delavan operation, which is going to locate in the existing Marsh building on Main Street in Elkton, will house production and warehouse operations in support of their growing lawn and garden business. New jobs at the facility include management, engineering, and assembly positions, and operations expected to begin in the next 2 months. We continue to attract quality employers day in, day out, week in and week out. Specifically, Delavan leadership noted our ideal geographic location and the availability of a skilled workforce as decisive factors in their choice to locate in Kentucky. I want to thank Delavan for selecting the Commonwealth and for selecting Todd County. Finally, I'm excited to announce further commitment to Kentucky site selection and community readiness initiatives with the addition of a build-ready site in Pulaski County. The new site in the Somerset Paducah Economic Development Authority Commerce Park will include a 100,000 square foot building pad on 22 acres for industrial use. This site will help attract a quality company to the region. And let me tell you, even when we just announce these things, before they're not even installed, we start getting calls. Speed to market is what Kentucky sells. It's what businesses are looking for. If we can get them in operation months before anybody else, the profits they make, the advantage they get in their industry is significant. Our Build Ready program continues to play a critical role as we stay proactive in making Kentucky a destination for companies. And remember, it's decades of investment at that Glendale site that led to our largest investment ever with Ford and SK. This is us investing dollars so everybody else can have their Glendale too. So we can make sure that these jobs are announced all over Kentucky, which is what we've seen, more geographic diversity and jobs announcements than any of us can ever remember. So thank you to the Somerset Pulaski Economic Development Authority and state officials for establishing this new build-ready site. It won't be long until it's filled. All right, let's turn to our most recent update on flooding in eastern Kentucky. Remember, we see 3 major phases. There's the emergency phase, the stabilization phase, and ultimately the full rebuilding phase. On the emergency phase, still 39 fatalities, 8 in Breathitt, 2 in Clay, 19 in Knott, including those 4 children, 3 in Letcher, 7 in Perry. The search continues for the 2 missing women in Breathitt County, both from the Lost Creek community. A lot of folks were out there working real hard this weekend. There is not a lot of hope, but we hope to be able to bring closure for those families. Local organizations, including state parks, churches, and schools, are providing still some emergency shelter. The Red Cross is operating 1, 2 others are being operated by partners. 349 people are sheltering in our lodges at Jenny Wiley State Resort Park, Buckhorn State Resort Park, and Carr Creek State Park. Now, these are all what we would still consider emergency sheltering, though they're out of congregate sheltering. So this is moving towards the intermediate, but ultimately we'd like to get them in a travel trailer, rental units around the area, but getting everybody, every family, even just a single room, nobody being in a gym, is that step we are continuing to move towards. And then we're going to have big travel trailer news here in a minute. We're now down to 69 power outages in the impacted counties. Isn't that amazing? That's down from 27,000 at its height. Water outages. All drinking water systems are now operational, down from 22 that were offline immediately after the flooding. The city of Buckhorn was the last system to come online, and residents began receiving water through the system's distribution line late last week. All but 20 connections have been restored. When you look at this emergency response for how much damage this thing did, and to have most people with power and water and full cell phone service is an incredible feat by those working real hard. Crews from the Kentucky Rural Water Association, plus organized volunteers from water companies across the Commonwealth, continue to check for leaks. These crews are also working on the water line that supplies Buckhorn Lake State Resort Park, and we hope to restore drinking water there in the near future. Right now, we're using a tank to provide water there. There are 84 service connections without water, total down from 34,121. We got 60 connections we're working on in Breathitt County, 4 in Hazard. But more than 5,000 customers are under a boiled water advisory. That's down from 46,000 at the height. Meanwhile, we're working to continue to bring water to everyone who needs it. For private well owners, and I don't think we said this before, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency recommends following instructions posted on the EPA's website, what to do after the flood. If you have a private well, make sure you go to the EPA's website and look at what to do after the flood. All right, let's talk about the stabilization phase. All right, to date, FEMA has approved 12 counties for individual assistance and disaster unemployment assistance. Survivors in those counties can apply first for that individual assistance. They can also apply for $500 in critical needs, $300 for the clean and sanitize program, 13 counties for public assistance, and 4 counties for direct temporary housing assistance. Okay, again, because I've heard a few news reports of people getting a FEMA award of $179 to $195. Listen, FEMA's not communicating this well enough, but most likely that is not your final award. You're receiving that money to pay a contractor to inspect and provide the estimate of the cost to repair disaster-related damage to your HVAC, septic system, well, retaining wall, single-family road, or bridge. After you receive the contractor estimate, take it back to the Disaster Recovery Center. They're saying file an appeal. I wish the process wasn't like that. I don't like that process. But if you get just $100 and something, make sure you're communicating with FEMA, because most likely that is to pay somebody to come out, a contractor, and inspect and estimate your damage. FEMA has also deployed inspection teams that are out in communities, and they are going to households they've been unable to contact. To date, FEMA and other related entities, $92 million in federal grants, loans, and flood insurance. 53.6 of that has been to the individual and households programs. So they have, that's to 6,550 households thus far. 42.2 million in housing assistance grants to homeowners to bring their damaged properties to a sanitary and habitable condition. 9.7 million in other needs assistance. So they've approved 6,550. Total applications now 12,616. We've been working hard to turn around 2,700 applications that were originally denied that have now been approved. That's over 600 additional applications from last week. If you've been approved for assistance, we will say that the damage to Eastern Kentucky has slowed down the mail. So if you are able to sign up for direct deposit with FEMA, that will pick up the speed in which you can get that assistance. It's fast, safe, and your FEMA checks won't get lost. If you want to sign up for direct deposit, call 800-621-3362. Fixed disaster recovery centers are still available at 7 locations that are on our website and up here. Hours are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Listen, this is the best way to go talk to FEMA and to get the other services you need. National Flood Insurance Program has now paid out $11.3 million. U.S. Small Business Association has paid out $27.1 million. 23.3 of that has gone to homeowners and renters. Remember, survivors who apply to FEMA may be referred to USBA. Make sure you go through that process. Disaster loans of up to $200,000 are available to homeowners to repair or replace disaster damaged or destroyed real estate. The filing deadline for physical property damage is September 28th, 2022. All right, let's move to our travel trailer sheltering program. As of August 30th, we've moved 289 individuals into what is now 119 travel trailers that are on site through our Commonwealth sheltering program. As you can see, since the last time we put this up, since yesterday, I think when we published it, but just since yesterday, 2 more in Breathitt County over the weekend, and certainly up to now, 22 since last Thursday have been added to the Perry County site. Today's news is 88 additional travel trailers are on the way and should reach Eastern Kentucky by Saturday. If you think we have 119 right now and 88 are on the way, this is a very significant increase. 23 of those have been purchased directly by the state. They'll likely get there by Friday. And 65 are coming from an announcement that we're going to have in just a minute. We'll continue to transition as we get more on-site trailers ready to be occupied. But let me say the limiting factor is now not our access to trailers. It's safe locations with the hookups of water and power that are needed, and then getting the work to get them ready to be occupied. It's more than just pulling them into the location. You have to hook them up to utilities. You have to do an inspection. That's what makes them safe. Media reports, again, and rumors have inaccurately stated there's a 60-day or a 90-day limit to staying in here. Now, we have a program where we check in on everybody every 30 days. It's ultimately required for us to do this program to transition this housing to FEMA, which will let people stay longer. That's checking on you. That's making sure you have the things that you need. That's being able to provide wraparound services. So you'll meet with somebody every 30 days, but no, there is not a 60 or a 90-day limit. So those other 65 travel trailers and many more to come from this announcement. I'm very proud to join a friend of mine, Governor John Bell Edwards, in announcing an agreement where the state of Louisiana is donating up to 300 travel trailers that were originally acquired to aid Hurricane Ida survivors to shelter Eastern Kentucky flood victims. This week, the Commonwealth is moving the first 65 trailers from Louisiana to Letcher and Floyd counties. Additional travel trailers will be moving in phases to various community sites that are out of flood zone themselves, but near flood impacted areas. This is a huge help. Now, the only cost that we have in these trailers is the transportation, and I think it saves us about $40,000 plus per trailer. We have sent our people down to inspect them. They are in incredible shape. They are as nice as any trailer that we have purchased, and it's going to allow us to amplify this program significantly. The travel trailers are part of the Commonwealth sheltering program. So if we can put that past slide back up, we already have 888 households registered. That doesn't mean everybody will be eligible, but looking to join this program. So another 88 on the way, with another 230 to 240 available that we'll be moving in the coming days and weeks, is a huge increase in this program. And I just want to say we're really grateful. We've seen amazing helpers throughout Kentucky and throughout the country, and now we're seeing Governor Edwards in the state of Louisiana helping our people with critical shelter. Unfortunately, folks in Louisiana know a lot about what we're going through. They've seen the pain and the devastation that water pushed by hurricanes can cause. But despite all they've been through themselves, They're helping us now. They're paying the help that they got from others forward. So now more families in Kentucky will have quicker access to intermediate housing. Louisiana originally purchased the travel trailers, but they're seeking cost reimbursement from FEMA. We think we've worked out that system. The travel trailers are being provided at no cost to the Commonwealth, but we will be using dollars from the recently passed legislation, the Eastern Kentucky State Aid Funding for Emergencies, to transport and prepare the trailers for families in Eastern Kentucky. There are a lot of dollars in that available for housing, especially getting somebody in a safe place immediately. And it's helping us with almost 300 travel trailers that'll be on the way. Thank you to Louisiana. Thank you to Governor John Bell Edwards. Other good news, schools are returning to session. Since our last Team Kentucky update, 2 of these school districts that had to push off school a little bit are back. 6 districts are starting this week. There are 25 school districts in the impacted area. 21 are back in session. 4 districts are currently scheduled for late September. I want to mention again, disaster unemployment assistance is available in 12 Eastern Kentucky counties. You can go to kcc.ky.gov or call 502-875-0442. The deadline is September the 6th. And I want to take just a moment to focus on this because there haven't been a lot of claims here or to other unemployment. If you are out there and you are struggling week to week right now in this area, we need to get you into one of our safety net programs. That way, if this charity or that charity has helped out this week, you're not scrambling the next week. That's unemployment or disaster unemployment. That's the SNAP or disaster SNAP. Those are the food assistance programs. We went through this in Western Kentucky too to stabilize everybody. We need to get you in the programs that you qualify for. Cabinet for Health and Family Services. In good news, the deadline to apply for disaster food benefits has been extended. So residents and people working in 12 counties that suffered the most significant damage now have until September 2nd, that's 2 extra days, to apply for disaster SNAP benefits. You can do that by calling 833-371-8570. Applications are being taken by phone 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Wednesday through Friday. You can also do it in person at a DCBS office or at any disaster recovery center. As of today, SNAP replacements are at about 4,100. All right, that final phase, that rebuilding phase, again, will include a significant amount of housing. We are looking at multiple locations across each of the hard-hit counties on how we could move those that want to be further away from the water to an area that does not flood. To do that takes time. It first takes us acquiring or looking at property owned by private companies. The second piece is we've got to run utilities. If you don't have water and you don't have power, we can't build a home there yet. The recently passed legislation from the special session last week not only includes money for intermediate housing, let's get a roof over your head right now, it includes money to allow us to run the water, the power, and anything else to start working towards this long-term housing in a safe place. It also has us working with FEMA right now about what the program looks like for those that want to live in a safer place, but still in their county, about the FEMA buyout program, which is going to have to equate roughly with what it takes to move somewhere else. This is very active right now with multiple cabinets working through it and the resources we need to begin preparing for it and to speed it up. What I'd say is just like debris removal, the first couple days or weeks are slower than anybody would like to see because the destruction is still around you. In housing, you're still worried about what's next. You're worried about the next week or you're worried about the next 6 months. But once you get everything in place, you see that rapid increase and progress. We're seeing that in debris removal right now in the east, going through the creek beds, picking up so much debris, just like we saw in the west. Just remember, I know it's hard, but this is a several-year rebuilding project. And that's really hard on the families that are there. It's going to take the time, it's going to take the effort, but we are there for the long haul. And we've also got to understand that, if you've had your home wiped out, saying getting you back on your feet is going to take a year and a half to 2 years is pretty frustrating. We get that. So let's make sure we're showing compassion to those that have been in harm's way while also continuing to provide them hope. Team Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund, now a little over $8.5 million donated by 36,361 donors. We've paid all 39 funerals for those we've lost. And we announced last week that for everyone that qualifies for FEMA individual assistance, that's over 6,000 already, we're going to be providing a payment of $500 above and beyond any amount you qualified for. And that doesn't matter, no matter how much FEMA awarded you. I know most people feel like it's too little. Everybody who's awarded anything by FEMA will be getting anything through the individual assistance program. It's going to be getting $500 from this fund. Nobody has to apply. We're working with FEMA right now. We are going to get your information, and we are going to be able to get these dollars to you. Hoping to have another announcement about use of these funds next week, similar to what we were able to do in the West. But people can still help. At this point in the West, we had about $40 million in the Team Western Kentucky Tornado Relief Fund. We're at about $8.7 million in the Eastern Kentucky Fund. Remember, this is the only fund that is fully transparent, subject to open records that will have legislative oversight, and other than credit card processing fees, zero administrative fees. We're administering it all ourselves. You can help by donating at Team EKY floodrelieffund.ky.gov. We're going to be there as long as it takes. And we want to be there to be either a shoulder to cry on, somebody to listen to frustration, but ultimately to help with a firm commitment that we will get each of these communities back on their feet. So let's move from east to west, because we are still rebuilding after the deadliest, most devastating tornado event that Kentucky's ever experienced, and probably the United States has ever experienced. If you remember, it struck just 2 weeks before Christmas last year. Since early May, we've announced millions of dollars in that Western Kentucky Safe Fund that was the model for what that special session just passed. So today, we have more awards. And what we have seen in each of these is when it opens up, you'll have a lot of applications. And then people will deploy those dollars, and then they come back because rebuilding takes time with additional applications. So today, I'm announcing more than $3.3 million in additional Safe Fund awards to the city of Mayfield and Fulton County, as well as several eligible utilities in the region. The Safe Funds today include the following: more than $257,000 in Fulton County to help with strained fiscal liquidity, paving costs, and FEMA ineligible debris removal. This makes sure that the county is able to do what is necessary without going bankrupt, either waiting for FEMA to reimburse them or what FEMA doesn't reimburse. More than $2.4 million to the city of Mayfield for FEMA ineligible debris removal, hauling expenses, and tipping fees. Thank you to both the mayor and the judge in Graves County, certainly to the Fulton County Fiscal Court for their hard work. $35,000 in financial assistance to the Marshall County Refuse District for repairs to roads damaged by debris removal trucks. $400,000 to the North Marshall Water District to help repair damaged underground water lines ineligible for FEMA assistance. $110,000 to the Princeton Electric Plant Board in local FEMA match funds and financial assistance for interest due on loans taken to ease strained financial liquidity, and nearly $90,000 for Salt River RECC to cover FEMA ineligible expenses for the replacement of utility poles, lines, and equipment, as well as personnel costs associated with the emergency response. All of these prevent ultimate increases on our families. They prevent our counties and our cities from going bankrupt and having to look at their taxation, which people couldn't afford anymore right now. It prevents rate increases from the utilities that have had a lot of damage. And I just want to take a minute to acknowledge our brave utility service men and women who worked around the clock in both the West and the East to get that power back on. We are now and will continue to be with each and every one of these communities from Mayfield to Martin County and everywhere in between. And we will continue on that full rebuilding effort. But I think the West shows us that it does take some time. So if you remember, in Western Kentucky, we announced out of the Team Western Kentucky Tornado Relief Fund $16 million that's going to fund 300 homes built by 3 nonprofits. We're currently with 25 of those 300, 25 houses either fully built or under construction, 19 under construction, 6 fully built. Now, when we see the build out and what it takes and the time it takes, this just gives people an idea. We'll have the 300, I think, over a year and a half, 2-year period from when those tornadoes hit. A lot of the construction is going to be happening right around this Christmas at the 1-year mark. So, out of that funding, having it there, it's still being drawn on, but we're at the first 25 out of 300 houses, but we're going to continue until we get every one of those rebuilt. I have an update on the Team Kentucky Nonprofit Assistance Fund. Kentuckians rely on nonprofits to provide families with advocacy and aid during our hardest times, as well as to push our state forward. During the pandemic, many nonprofits had to close or reduce services. So to help with recovery, Kentucky nonprofits can now apply for assistance from this fund up to $100,000 per eligible organization through the $75 million Team Kentucky Nonprofit Fund. These are federal ARPA dollars allocated by the 2022 General Assembly. I want to thank them for their commitment to nonprofits. To date, 750 applications received, requesting more than $50 million. I'm happy to introduce the very first group receiving one of these grants. It's Natalie Harris, Executive Director of the Coalition for the Homeless in Louisville, the first recipient from the fund. The mission of the Coalition for the Homeless is to prevent and end homelessness in Louisville. Natalie provided this short video.
Hello, the Coalition for the Homeless and our member agencies would like to thank Governor Beshear and our state legislature for making funds available to nonprofits. We're particularly thankful that the help was provided for local shelters throughout Kentucky. These agencies worked tirelessly during COVID to keep people safe. They kept going to work, they kept shelters open, they got people into housing, and that work needs to continue. These funds will make that possible by allowing agencies to be able to pay their staff to keep the agency's staff during these difficult times. We will particularly be using the funds here at the Coalition for the Homeless to get people off the streets by paying deposits and furniture and getting them housed. Thank you again for this opportunity. We hope that this will help make nonprofits strong in our state. Thank you so much.
Money is still available in the fund. Nonprofits can apply at Team KY, nonprofitfund.ky.gov. Application deadline is October the 1st. Next, Kentucky Rural Infrastructure Improvement Grants. Ensuring that individuals and businesses have reliable, high-speed internet access is critical to the future of this state. As governor, I'm committed to ensuring that high-speed internet access becomes a reality across our commonwealth. We got to hook up every home and every business. In June, I announced the largest public investment in expanding internet access in our state's history, $89.6 million under our Better Internet program, which is going to bring internet to 34,000 homes that have never had it. These grant dollars, coupled with matching funds, brought that investment to over $203 million across 36 Kentucky counties. And beginning tomorrow, we'll further advance our commitment to bringing high-speed internet access to unserved areas by making available another $20 million in Kentucky Rural Infrastructure Improvement Fund grants to assist providers with the cost of utility pole replacements necessary to support broadband expansion. These grants provide up to $5,000 per utility pole replaced, not to exceed 50% of the total cost of replacement. Costs must be incurred on or after July 1st, 2022 to be eligible. So these projects include the construction, development, or improvement of infrastructure to support the deployment and expansion of high-speed internet access with a medium speed of 100 megabits per second downstream and upstream in unserved areas of the Commonwealth. Grant applications will be accepted starting Thursday, September 1st. The application and all grant eligibility criteria are available at Kentucky Infrastructure Authority's website, kia.ky.gov. All this is about making the economics of expansion, especially into rural and unserved areas, work. Quick update on COVID-19. It continues to spread across Kentucky. We saw a small increase in the number of reported cases, including among many school-aged children. We continue to recommend that everyone 6 months of age or older stay up to date on their vaccinations and receive any booster doses. And it appears since we started this press conference, the FDA has authorized updated COVID booster shots targeting Omicron subvariants. It looks like they may be available as soon as next week. We will be looking for more information as the FDA puts it out. Fortunately, the number of patients hospitalized has remained stable. We did see a small increase in those in the ICU, so we're going to continue to monitor that trend. Most important thing, stay home if you're sick. And if you have had known contact with someone with COVID-19, test yourself. And until you know that you are negative and stay negative, definitely consider wearing that mask. Treatments are widely available. If you test positive for COVID-19, talk to your doctor or a healthcare provider. These new COVID-19 boosters are coming really soon, and they should better protect us. Monkeypox, now up to a total of 30 cases from 9 counties, all have occurred in adults. 1 in Barron, 2 in Christian, 3 in Fayette, 17 in Jefferson, 1 in Kenton, McCracken, Montgomery, and Oldham, and 3 in Warren. To reduce risk of transmission, avoid close physical contact with partners who have skin rashes or lesions. And remember, vaccines are available. Vaccinations can prevent monkeypox. Treatments are out there. I think the United States lost its first person to monkeypox in the last several days. I think that person was severely immunocompromised. Get the vaccine if you are in the group at risk and protect yourself. All right, our Team Kentucky All-Stars. This week, again, are donors to the Team Eastern Kentucky Relief Fund. Thank you. This is going to help us with the rebuild. It's going to help us on housing. It helped us in the West fund over 300 new homes. And I want to thank those that are helping. These are folks that have contributed this week with over $15,000 or more. New York Life at $100,000. United Healthcare Services more than $98,000. Oldham County Fiscal Court. Oldham County provided $50,000 to the Eastern Kentucky Fund and $50,000 to the Western Kentucky Fund. So thank you to the judge and that fiscal court. That is really incredible. It came in. He hadn't even called me. Talk about knowing you're going to make it through something. That was really special. Solaris Diagnostics, $50,000. CC Metals and Alloys, Fiberform Containers, CSX, all $25,000, and Stantec for $20,000. Thank you for everything you are doing for Team Kentucky. All right, with that, I think we've got a few more minutes. We'll open it up to questions. We've got Carolina here with us live.
Governor, like you mentioned earlier, we're all hearing these stories of people getting low amounts, what they consider insulting amounts of money from FEMA. What you're saying is this is not the final amount, to clarify. Is that correct?
Yeah, so first, we continue to push FEMA. We have seen a lot of improvement, but it is not enough. And it's not just unique to us. How FEMA responds and the dollars they make available needs to improve all over the country. And it may take Congress giving them more flexibility to ultimately do that. What we've seen are too many people denied, and we're making great strides towards that. We hate that people have to fight through this and go in 4 or 5 times to get it done, but we have more authority to get them approved than ever before there. Then we have overall amounts that may be in the thousands that people say this isn't going to help me rebuild. And we want to make sure that they can supplement their claims to do everything they can to maximize that. But there are specific instances where people are receiving $150 to $200. In many of those instances, that's to pay a contractor to come out and to give the overall estimate that you then submit. Now, it shouldn't. It should come with better instructions than it is, and it shouldn't take you, quote unquote, appealing to get that fixed. But I want to make sure that information's out there so nobody gets discouraged and takes their $150 that's supposed to get somebody out and get them an amount that FEMA can then pay and walk away. Divya Karthikeyan from WFPL.
Good morning, Governor. I just had a question on housing assistance. Someone who's waiting on that assistance while staying in a travel trailer, and they're getting that minimal amount of 150 or 200, which is not enough to rebuild. I think the question that I've heard on the ground is really, how long is this temporary housing assistance of travel trailers going to be there? And how that's going to make sure that people have enough time to rebuild if they have to keep appealing and asking for assistance.
Right. So I'm committed to making sure that that intermediate housing, and that could be travel trailers, but FEMA has a housing assistance program that's going to be coming online too. There are more rentals in the area than people think, even though there aren't a lot. And we see that in every single one of these. We're going to have this housing as long as it takes. I think we still have 68 travel trailers filled in Western Kentucky. And that's 8 months after those tornadoes hit. We do need to check in on you every 30 days. We want to make sure that we remain FEMA eligible. We also want to make sure that we're getting people the services they need and answering the questions. So listen, we are in this for the long haul. We've still got a ton of people in our state parks, and we're going to make sure we take care of them too. We just turned down a program that would have pushed people out too fast. We're not going to do that. These are our families. So anybody in a travel trailer right now, they should take it from me. They're okay. All right. We're gonna make sure they've got that place for the months or even the years that it takes to ultimately get them in permanent housing. Tom Latek, Kentucky Today.
Thank you, Governor, and good morning to you, sir. I noticed that you extended the state of emergency through the end of the year, but it's also in areas that are well beyond where the flooding was. Louisville, Lexington, Frankfort, Paducah, places like that. Can you explain the entire process and why those areas are now included?
Yes, those areas are included so that they can be eligible for funds, emergency funds, and or potentially FEMA reimbursement for the services they provide. I mean, we've had, I was in Fleming Neon, and we had police officers from St. Matthews that were down there. Still people sending their water folks from their utilities down to help. Getting all of those counties to extend the state of emergency will help us try to cover as much of their costs as possible, or that they can get reimbursed for those. It just helps us respond better and make sure when we're asking for help, we put those other counties in the best position to qualify for any federal reimbursement that's out there. Debbie Yetter, Courier Journal.
Good morning. Getting back to Western Kentucky, you mentioned that you mentioned another $3 million in allocations today. It looks like about 30% of the $200 million for that area has been spent. How do you foresee allocating the rest? In particular, how would you foresee aiding school districts?
So we have not turned down any eligible application that's come. So of the applications that met the legislature, we have granted all of them. So right now, this is the total number of eligible requests that have come in. I do believe there'll be more over time. This is one example, but it could be that we have an amount of money in that that is ultimately a little bit more than may be requested through those programs. That's certainly possible. And we should point out that there was a lot more insurance in Western Kentucky. Tornadoes are covered under people's or businesses or other insurance. So there's a lot of other funding that comes there. On the school system side, those dollars are available. Certainly, services is what we hope to see a significant amount of those dollars used for. We did not have schools in Western Kentucky physically damaged, and we're going to see a lot of these dollars going to Eastern Kentucky schools that are physically damaged. What we did need to make up were some flexibility in how state funding comes in that was going to really impact those schools. So I believe that we will expend more of the Eastern Kentucky Safe Fund faster than we are the Western Kentucky. And that's because of a lack of insurance coverage in many of these areas, and the infrastructure damage itself is greater. The water damage is significantly, the water infrastructure damage is greater, but those dollars are still there for Western Kentucky as those needs come in, as we saw another several $1 million here. And some of these areas are still waiting to determine if something is reimbursable from FEMA, and when it's not, it can be used from that too. I will say I think the Western Kentucky Safe Fund has gone well. We've gotten dollars out quickly. We've been able to say yes to everything eligible, and it creates a good template for Eastern Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky, the applications are already out to the counties and the groups. I know that they are filling those out now. All right, finally, Melissa Patrick, Kentucky Health News.
Hi, Governor. So as you know, today's Overdose Awareness Month day in Kentucky and internationally, and we still have 57 counties that don't have syringe exchange programs, and about 20 of those counties are considered most vulnerable among injection drug users for infection. Can you talk a little bit about how important these programs are to decreasing overdoses in Kentucky, and whether you think these 57 counties need to move forward with adding one to their county?
As Attorney General, I fought the opioid epidemic every single day, and the level of addiction out there is concerning, and especially with all of the fentanyl and all the types of fentanyls that are out there, it is as deadly as it's ever been. Listen, I've not only gone after opioid companies, invested in treatments, worked with law enforcement. I personally pulled an overdosing man from a car and watched him stop breathing in a street in downtown Lexington. I believe in syringe exchange programs, or call them needle exchange programs. They work. It's an opportunity to keep somebody safer from not just helping someone with addiction, but it prevents us from addiction and hepatitis and AIDS. It is a program where we can talk to people who are going through it and who are in need. And listen, I get what some of the feelings and some of the arguments are out there, but with our level of addiction, with the number of people we are losing, it's time to just say that this is a step. And if you have to feel that way, a necessary step to address it. I think it ought to be in every county. It's just a public health method that absolutely works. And for those that don't have it, go talk to some folks that work one in another county. It's pretty amazing to see these folks as people walk up to exchange needles, talking to them, trying to establish a relationship. Talk to them about the success stories, because that's somebody's child or somebody's parent. These are good programs. All right, we'll be back next week. Thank y'all.